Hi everybody! Last fall I found a recipe for a mushroom cream sauce that can be served over steak or a pork chop that is just out of this world delicious. And truth be told, I have not liked mushrooms for most of my life, and this recipe has really turned me around on that. It is a quick and easy recipe, but it is so quick that you need to have all of your vegetables prepped before you start, because once you start, it just moves. The recipe starts by browning your mushrooms. So I have some white button mushrooms that I have sliced, and I am going to put about a tablespoon of butter into my cast iron skillet here with a drizzle of this avocado oil. And then I'm going to add my mushrooms in. And it's important that you don't overcrowd your pan. And by that I mean you don't want all of your mushrooms stacked up on top of each other. You want them pretty much in a single layer as much as you possibly can. When the vegetables are stacked on top of each other or layered in the pan, they steam and they don't brown, and you really want to get a good brown on these mushrooms. Part of the reason I didn't like mushrooms until recently is that I just didn't know how to prepare them. And mushrooms are not onions. So normally you throw onions in the pan, you cook them until they're soft, you take them out, you put them in whatever you're gonna put them in. Mushrooms take a little bit more attention. They take a little bit longer to cook. They are full of water. They're just a totally different texture from any other vegetable, and so you have to give them their time. Once your mushrooms have been nicely browned and gotten slightly crispy in the pan, you're ready to prep your steak. Use whatever kind of steak you like. Whatever cut you like is fine. I have a New York strip here. It's cut pretty thin. I'm going to just pat it dry using some paper towels. So literally just take your paper towel and press on it. Try to get some of the moisture out. And flip it over, do the same thing on the other side. If you take some of this moisture out, it browns a lot better in the skillet. Once you've kind of patted it dry, we'll season it with salt and pepper. Really simple on both sides. Use as much pepper as you like. Some people like it really peppery. Next thing you're going to do is take some clean paper towel and your tongs and come back to your skillet, and we're going to give it a wipe, a quick wipe. We're just trying to get the butter out of it because the fat in the butter can burn pretty easily. And now we're just going to give our pan another drizzle with avocado oil. Do not use olive oil for this. The smoke point is too low. But canola oil, avocado oil should work. We're going to let that heat for just a little bit. In order to get a nice crust on the steak without overcooking it, you need your pan to be screaming hot, like about 400 degrees. And once the steak is in there, don't move it. Don't move it until you're ready to flip. Just let it do its thing. And when it's ready to flip, it will release easily from the pan. So if you're trying to flip it and it feels like it's sticking, it's just not ready to flip yet. So after about a minute or two on each side, you're ready to take it off. Just set it on a plate and set it aside. You can put it with your mushrooms, or you can put it on a different plate if you want. Just don't put it back on the same plate that it was on when it was still raw. So I have wiped out my pan again when the steak came out, just to get as much of the little bits of meat off the bottom of the pan as I can. It's not completely necessary that you do that, but this is a cream sauce, and leaving that in there will make it a little darker. And I have melted another almost tablespoon of butter and put a little drizzle of my oil. For the sauce, I've got some garlic that I've chopped very finely. You could put it through a garlic press if you want. And I've got some green onions that I've sliced, and I've kept the whites separate from the greens. To know where that is, you just take your green onion, and where you see it start to separate, chop that cut it right there. And then slice this half, put it in one bowl, slice this half, put it in another bowl, and we'll keep those separate. I'm going to start the sauce by putting my garlic and the white part of my green onions into the butter. And I'm going to let this cook just a few seconds until it's fragrant. Garlic burns very quickly, and so we don't want to let it go too long. So we don't want burned garlic. So just until you're starting to smell it. And then I'm going to add some beef broth, just a little bit. And I'm going to let this come to a simmer. And once it's simmering, I'm going to add my mushrooms back in. Careful not to dump your whole steak in there. But if some of the juices go in there, that's fine. It's going to flavor your sauce really nicely. I'm going to give this a stir, let it simmer a little bit longer so that it does thicken up a little bit. This isn't going to be as thick as like a white gravy, but it is going to be thicker than beef broth. All right, once it's simmering really good like this, I'm going to add in some sour cream. Now, this is not a light recipe, and if you think you can lighten it up by using Greek yogurt, don't ask me how I know, but that does not work. So go ahead and go for the full fat sour cream. You're only going to be using 2 tablespoons for 2 servings, so it's really not that much. Stir that so that it melts into your sauce. We'll add a little salt and pepper. All right, and that is ready to go on your steak. This should be enough sauce for 2 steaks. Be generous with it. Your friends will thank you. And then we'll garnish it with the green part of those green onions that we sliced earlier. There it is, our mushroom cream sauce on our New York strip steak.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.